So I just want to recap before I get to the night of AUM. So I'm somewhat getting having a grasp on what happened, the depth of it, and as I remember, Friday, June 7th, 2019, the night of my son's graduation, I felt like that was the last emotion, the feeling of anger and tenseness that I could hold in. And the next day, June 8th, Saturday, when my wife had asked me, when she had said she was blue and all my emotions had just left my body, and as I flew to the sky, I felt like I had surrendered all my emotions. So it felt like a new spark had been created. And then so the night of AUM is, as I was in bed and we started to listen to AUM, I can hear it, in the now while I'm listening, and then I started realizing that it was getting deeper and deeper. So as I was starting to fall asleep, and in my dream state, I guess it would be, when I was starting to fall asleep, is I started hearing the AUM in my sleep. And as I realized, I started tuning in to this frequency of the AUM chant, the pause, and the bell. And as I started realizing that, as I was tuning in to the sound of it, I started realizing in my dream state, in my sleep, my breathing. So I started realizing my breathing was getting in tune with the chant, the pause, and the bell. And it was like a symphony. It felt like a symphony. Like I was creating a symphony. I was a conductor. And I remember as my breathing started getting deeper and deeper, my inhale, exhale, to the point where the first AUM I would hear, I would inhale the whole time, started getting that in tune to the sound. And as I heard the pause, I would stop my breathing. And then as I heard the bell, I would start breathing again, so I would exhale on the next AUM. So I noticed I was starting to get in tune with that. My breathing was getting so much deeper, so I was getting more air in, and I was exhaling the air, more air. So as I was doing that, I felt like there was something underneath me. So as I inhaled, I felt like I was inhaling a kiss from below me, like something was breathing into me, like Mother Nature. in a sense. And as I paused, I would take it in, saying thank you, like to myself. And as the dawn came, I would exhale. And like I said, I had more air inside, so as I would blow out, I felt myself rising slowly, and I didn't realize it at first, but slowly in my mind I can feel it. So as I'm doing that and starting to get more and more in tune to the chant, the pause, and the bell, my breathing, my expanding and contracting got so deep. And as the higher I went, I felt the more air I had in and out. So as I was rising up, I can feel it. I felt like something was under me, pushing me up. And it felt like I was inhaling, receiving a kiss from up above. And as I blew out, I felt like I was blowing a kiss from down below. And up, inhale the kiss, blow out. And so as I'm getting taller and taller, I felt like I had this warrior feeling, and my back was against the wall. I saw myself as my back against the wall on the bed, which I was really laying down, and my back was against the wall, and I could see myself getting so tall, and I can feel my chest was so far out. And as I realized, the first bell, one of the bells came into me, I felt this vibration in my butt, right in the center, in the root, and it just created this slow outward vibration right from a center point and out. And I felt it just go so slow. It's like, for me, like I used to watch $6 Million Man. It was like so supersonic slow. And I just felt it create into my hamstrings. And I was like, whoa. And it kind of got a little freaked out. And then this is as I was inhaling and exhaling. That was the first vibration I felt. And as I was breathing more and more, each dong I would hear was one. The second one was, I felt it in my feet. And then the third vibration, I felt it in my hands. And as I got up above the clouds, I looked down and I can see my house. And I could see my feet all the way on the bed. And I was facing the east because my wall is on the west side. So I was facing the east, I remember. And I had this like big snarl I could feel in my face. Like something had awoken me, like I had been in hibernation and sleeping for so long. And yeah, it felt like it was a Shakti energy coming up from beneath me, like a feminine energy, like Mother Earth, and then from up above, Father Sky. And it felt like she was raising me up to the Father. And I had this snarl on my face, wondering what was going on. And when I looked down, I could see the clouds just like down here. And then I saw my feet all the way down. I saw my house. It was little, but I saw it. And next thing I know, I ended up going up. I shot up. And I somehow remember I was normal size. And I remember it felt like I was fighting something up above, like some force. And it felt like, to me, it felt like I was a handle of a flashlight, and there was a triangle. It was this way, triangle, and it was on the top of my head, and it was right here, and it was like I was flying up there, and it was like there was force against it. I felt, and I was going super fast, and the next thing I know, I came into something, and it felt like it was like a magnet. And as I came into it, it felt like it was another triangle, is what I feel like in my head. And it felt like I connected to it, like I had connected. And then all of a sudden, I would I would I would fall, and it was like I was attached to this bungee cord. And as it started to fall, I remember it just kind of stopping eventually, and just kind of like it was straight. It was almost like you go on a ride or something, and then all of a sudden I'd start shooting up again, and then when I connected, all of a sudden it felt like something changed. It was like I was connected to something up above, and what I thought was my wife, she was down in bed. I thought it was my wife. I just sensed her. And then all of a sudden, I would just go like this. It was like I was attached to something, and I was going from the moon to the earth. And it was like this, just going back and forth and back and forth. And then all of a sudden, I realized in my mind, I couldn't hear anything, but I felt like I was going in tune to the AUM. So as I'm going back and forth and listening to the AUM, probably deep in my mind, it was in there. That's how I was doing. I was disconnecting, connecting, falling, going back and forth to the moon and back. And as I was doing that, it felt, I can feel it when I first went up above the clouds. When I left below, when I went up to the clouds, I can feel like it felt very comfortable, and it was dark, but I can see like just light particles somewhat. It was like a little light, a little misty, and it brought enough light out there, and it felt like this empty space, like this void of nothing. Like I was the only one there. I didn't see anybody there, but I sensed that something else was around me. And then eventually I sensed my wife up there when I was going back and forth to the moon. It felt like it was going back and forth, like I was connected. It was a magnetic force. And as I heard the bells and stuff, that was just eventually just set me off. I was going back and forth, and then eventually I remember at one point, all of a sudden I must have heard the fourth bell, because all I remember is 4 bells. And on that fourth dong, I woke up, and I was gasping for air, and it was like I couldn't even breathe. It felt like I had stopped breathing for a while, and I was so freaked out, and it felt like there was this, it was like a piece of tin that you take, a thin piece of tin, and you start to wave it back and forth. And I remember doing that when I was a kid. I would do that, wave it back and forth, and it created this this wave. And that's what it felt like. It was going up inside my body and then back down. It would be like this, back and forth. It was going back and forth, back and forth. And it felt like something had rung my whole body, my bell. Like somebody rung my bell. That's what it felt like. Somebody had rung my bell, and my eyes were just kind of going like this and in and back and forth. It felt like that. And it was through my feet all the way up to my head. And my wife, I guess in that time, she said she remembers in her meditation, she's meditated before, and like I said, this is the first time I ever meditated. She's meditated before, so she never felt that. She felt something. She felt this, her legs were just shaking and vibrating, and she remembers thinking, man, I hope Jaime's okay. I hope he's not freaked out about this. And I was already awake by then, and I was already freaked out. I was really freaked out, and I could not stop myself from shaking. It was just a vibration. It was so powerful. And she woke up and she saw me, and I was standing up next to my bed, and I was gasping for air, leaning over, trying to catch my breath, and I couldn't catch it. And so, as I'm inhaling, trying to catch my breath, and exhaling, my whole body's just shaking and vibrating, everything. And she says, what's going on? Are you okay? And I'm like, no, I can't breathe. I'm catching my breath. And I was just like really freaked out. And as I finally catch my breath a little bit, I'm still vibrating inside, and my legs are just shaking. They're just wobbling. And it was like you see baby animals being born. That's what I felt like. And as I go to take my first step finally, my legs were locked. I couldn't even walk. I was like, they were so straight. And I was like, babe, I can't even walk. My legs won't move. And finally, as I'm trying to walk, it felt like as I was taking a step, they were locked, and eventually they started to give at the knee, at the joint. And when they started to give, and then I'd start to try and walk, they would lock again like that, kind of like a lock, unlock, lock, unlock. And when I finally was able to just at least come to and realize that I didn't know what happened, actually. That something had happened, but I didn't know what. I was so freaked out. I didn't even want to talk about it. I told my wife I needed to take a shower. So I jumped in the shower, and as I came out, I tried to collect my thoughts on what had happened. I could not grasp it. And I mean, I'm still dissecting everything, so it's just, I'm trying to get deeper and deeper into what had happened. And what I kind of feel like I had crossed that threshold of death is what I felt. Like I had gone into the collective unconscious, beyond. It felt like I had tapped into something my mind had, and yeah, when I came back, like I felt a burst of energy. There was so much energy running through my body, and it's taken me this while just to even grasp a little bit of it. I felt like I had caught up to myself, like how they say karma in a way. It's like I felt like I had, to me I put it as when I was a kid, I used to play duck duck goose, where you used to run around and tag somebody. I felt like I was the chaser and I was the tagger. That's what I felt. I felt like I had caught up to my soul, and I had brought it back with me. and it was a lot of feminine energy that I didn't realize. You know, I've always had masculine energy. That is it, masculine energy. So I felt like I had brought back feminine energy that has always been inside my body. I mean, like I said, we're born mother and father. We have that female and and masculine energy. So I had felt that I had brought my other half back that had been missing for so long. And that's why I say it's like how they say positive, negative, the yin, yang, that energy. I was missing half of the energy. And that masculine energy can be very powerful when it stays inside. You know, and I created so much anger within myself all the time. Therefore, it became hate. It became hate. And it was myself that I didn't like. But it was also myself that kept all my emotions in. It didn't have any escape. No outlet. And finally, it was time for me to release it all. Surrender it. And I felt throughout this year, especially right after, I felt so much female energy, feminine energy that I had in my body. I can feel, you know, Mother Earth's breath, Father Earth's sky. I can feel the wind. I can feel everything alive, everything new. That's something I had never felt. It was very powerful. And I know it's still there. I still know that Mother Earth is breathing all this feminine energy and Father Sky is breathing all the masculine energy. That's what I felt. I felt it. And the collective unconscious, how the wind moves, the spirits, everything. I just feel it now. I feel a lot different. I think a lot differently now within myself. All my anger left my body. My physical pain left my body. So I can think now. It's like a computer almost. Like I got rid of all the old storage, the baggage. I got rid of the cobwebs that were in there, and it's like the chakras got cleaned out. My spine got cleaned out. Whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's what I felt. I felt the frequency, the sound, the vibrations, and it all came, I feel like, from the feminine energy from below me. And yeah, so that was it. I'm still learning a lot. I dig deeper and deeper into myself. But it's all about looking into yourself. That's what it was. I didn't realize it was me that was creating all this energy of negative, dark stuff, and it just accumulated in my body. It had no outlet. I kept it in for so long. And the AUM brought my shadow out of me, brought my other half when I came back. You know, I always thought about all the little things were so difficult to do. You know, like I said, I only thought about going from point A to point B. I never took the time to enjoy in between. That was my problem. I was always in a rush. In my mind, I always figured I had to be somewhere else all the time. Now I enjoy everything. I appreciate everything. Thank God for everything. You know, every day is a miracle for me. I appreciate life every day. And what comes my way is meant to come my way. They're lessons to be learned. Lessons in life. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you for listening.